Okay, you're live.
Hi, Behind the Chair Live. Thanks for tuning in. Real quick before I get started, I just want to say thank you to Behind the Chair and Ulta Beauty for hosting me today. I'm super excited. My name is Amanda Diaz. I'm an elite stylist here at Ulta Beauty. I've been with the company for 9 years and I've been in the industry for 11. Today, I'm super excited to get to demonstrate something that's very on trend. I've seen it all over TikTok. It's going to be the butterfly haircut with a shaggy bang. Today, I've got Caitlin here with me. She's actually a brow expert at my Ulta location. We're really excited to get this started. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and start talking about what we're going to be doing today. Caitlin, I went ahead and did invisible oil primer. It's nice because it's going to give me up to 450-degree heat protection for when I am styling her. Um, so yeah, I am super excited to get this started. So we had a consultation this morning, and we did get to talk about the look that we're going for. We're doing a shaggy bang because we want to be able to keep this nice and effortless and keep it nice and organic. And the difference with the butterfly haircut is it's a really nice, well blended haircut. So let's get started. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and start out with a nice triangular parting right in the fringe area. And the nice thing about starting in the fringe area, it's going to go ahead and give me a nice base for the rest of the haircut guideline wise. So we're going to go ahead and start with a little triangular parting. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put this away. All right, perfect. And of course, something to keep in mind when doing this haircut is keeping the density of your client's hair definitely makes a big difference. So depending on how much we're going to grab from the top of the head is going to go ahead and use that comb trick. But yeah, so we kind of want to keep it around the nose or just a wee bit higher in the middle to give that more shag look. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start. I'm going to go ahead and take even a little middle section. I'm going to go ahead and part that away. So that way we kind of start our guide out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut in a triangular motion here to already start that little nice swoopy bang. We're going to go ahead and start that out. We're going to make a little triangle. And I'm going to be using a point cutting technique so that way we keep this super organic, super easy to style when she's at home. And actually it does also give like a nice grow out too. So that way your client doesn't feel like she does need to keep up with the bang, but she has enough cool shagginess to it to be able to give her a cool, effortless style. Alrighty. So we're going to go ahead and connect those dots. We're going to over direct to the other side. I'm using my guideline to kind of create that shape as well now. And then we're going to meet it all up. And in that same notion, I'm going ahead and notch it away too to keep it nice and soft. We don't want any blunt lines when doing a shaggy bang. And I think that's what's the cool thing about keeping the shag bang with the butterfly cut is that the shagginess is going to create this cool, effortless, awesome vibe when the butterfly haircut's a nice, more soft, elegant look. So it's going to be kind of the best of both worlds. So we're going to go ahead and over direct that. And while we're here, we're not going to move any forward. We're just going to actually start texturizing this. So we're going to go ahead and take that little middle section, kind of like a nice organic parting as well. And we're going to hold that 45 degrees. And we can grab this little heels. Grab that nice at 45-degree angle. And I'm going to use a point cutting technique with my texture shears to go ahead and start layering that fringe area as well. One of the nice things too was getting to prep with the Bumble and Bumble because it does give a lot less frizz. And it's so nice being at Ulta. We get to try so many different brands out. So right now we have a takeover with Bumble and Bumble, and it's been so great to try out these new products. And then we're going to go ahead and over direct again. We're going to start shagging that bang out. And then already you'll notice it's going to be a lot softer. There's not any harsh lines going on around the face. Alrighty. So in the consultation, we did get to talk about the fact that sometimes she likes to wear it half off. She likes to wear it in a bun. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a parting really close to that hairline and then right in front of the ear there. And that's going to create a nice parting for the rest of the hairline too, so that everything kind of falls together. So I'm going to go ahead and over direct. I'm actually going to grab my other shear. I'm gonna go ahead and over direct because this point of the head here is almost like a different curvature. So we're almost gonna use that as a different uh, guideline too. But we're gonna go ahead and drop that little middle. We're gonna find that guideline that we had already cut so that we can start creating that face framing. We're gonna again over direct. And there's of course lots of different ways that we can cut this. We can go in this way and start carving out. I sometimes like to use this technique because we almost give ourselves a little bit more balance there too, and getting that over direction kind of lets me not take so much out since I'm just putting in those guidelines. And so that's already carving out with the rest of that fringe area that we created. And since we do want to be able to wear it up, I'm going to go ahead and do like a little triangular down this way so that way we can start having it so it's not so lengthy in the front and then we take out some of that bowl. So I'm going to just use a slide cutting technique and we're just going to channel that through. Not completely closing my shear, of course, because I don't want to take off too much length, but just so that we can create that effortless curve along the face there. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and work on the other side of the head over here. And we're going to go ahead and take that same parting to the other side. So we're going to go same base, along that hairline, take right in front of the ear.
Are you and Dad going to hit the van?
So we're going to go ahead and clip this out of the way. This haircut's super organic. This is so versatile too. I love that, you know, we get to use this for thick hair, finer hair, different textured hair. I think this haircut is super easy to do, replicate. I'm going to go ahead and go in point cutting one more time, meeting up in that same angle to that length that we had created in the beginning. Again, creating that soft channeling right on the sides here so that we create kind of like a soft V shape. So that way it all meets up and it gives her a nice, easy, effortless face framing. And the fact that we're creating this V is kind of what's nice about being able to hold it up and create different styles for your clients. Again, we're going to flip that over. We've got a little point there. We're going to go ahead and meet that up with our previous guideline. And I think the point cutting is kind of what creates that softness. And of course, you could use a razor. You could use so many different tools. But I personally like to go ahead and with my shear so that we keep the lengths nice and balanced. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and also texture the front here. Because, of course, since we're doing a nice shag, we want lots and lots of texture, lots of volume around the face. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out with my texturizing shear just to start layering this whole fringe area. It's cool because I'm kind of creating a different texture volume here in the front so that way she can kind of wear it without having to style the rest of her hair. I think the versatility of that just alone is what's so cool about this haircut. I'm going to go ahead and comb that down as well. And of course, this is something that you could go ahead and ask your client, you know, what is the kind of lengths that she's looking for face framing? What are the styles that she's going for? But I feel for like a nice shaggy bang, this is kind of cool to create this effortless look around the face. So for the rest of the haircut, I'm almost taking another section going along the head shape too. And then we're going to create the rest of it to kind of flow together. I'm going to go ahead and look at where I've kind of created this face framing and then, of course, how to meet it up at the end. So I'm going to pull that straight out of the head. And then I'm taking actually my texturizing shear and going down, channeling it down to my main length that I'm going to create. Again, keeping density in mind, keeping everything in mind when we're creating these shapes. And that is, of course, if you had somebody with a lot, denser hair, you can go in with texturizing shears even more. But since we're going to go ahead and start taking off some of this little length here, we're going to just go in with another point cutting technique because the butterfly haircut, as much as it's blended and everything, we still don't want any harsh lines in this haircut.
Would you ever do this haircut on wet hair, or would you always recommend cutting dry?
I think if you were going to go in with a razor, that's something that, of course, you could do is with a wet style. And of course, also depending on the texture of the hair, if we're taking off a lot of length in the beginning, maybe that's something that you could do in the beginning is take off some of the length while it's wet. So yeah, and that's the whole thing with this haircut. I think it's been replicated so often that, everybody's now kind of learning their own touch with it. There's nothing ever wrong. I think it's whatever works best for you. And I think sometimes with dry cutting, when you're working with finer hair, it is kind of nice to be able to see how everything's going to lay right away. And again, that's kind of why we prepped with that bumble and bumble in the beginning, so that way I'm not dealing with a lot of frizz, I'm not dealing with a lot of lift. It's giving me a nice sleek base to work with, and I think that's sometimes what's nice as well. So we're gonna go ahead and bring that forward. We're gonna just check our lengths. Just go ahead and notch anything away that we see that's not blending with everything. And then that's kind of our baseline for the back of the haircut. So we're gonna turn her around over here. And that's what's nice. It's kind of creating our guideline for the rest of the haircut. So now we're gonna bring this length back since we're gonna go ahead and even everything out for her. I'm gonna go ahead and have my client lean down, look down all the way for me. Perfect. Yeah, we don't want any kind of bridges coming out. We don't want any lift coming out. So we're gonna go ahead and use that guideline that we created in the beginning in the front there. Oops, dropped my phone. Just grab another one here. Since we went ahead and made our guide, now we get to just make everything match up to the front. We're gonna go ahead and use another point cutting technique, keeping that point cut because we don't want any blunt lines. I think it's easier for your client as well sometimes with that butterfly haircut to keep everything nice and organic, keep it nice and soft. We don't want anything looking too heavy, too blunt. So we're gonna keep bringing that guide over until we've got that main lane taken off. And I think that's what the cool thing is with the butterfly cut is that you could create more of a V if you over direct everything forward. You can create more of a round shape. Again, this haircut is so versatile. It's so nice to be able to change this, accommodate to your guests. And the nice thing, it's so in right now that people just love being able to shop in Ulta, be able to see something new that's happening. This is so trending right now. I have so many clients that are asking about all these different wolf cuts, butterfly cuts. And I think that this is such a cool, easy way to execute this haircut and keeping everything super balanced. And I think the grow out too, when we're doing point cutting, is so much softer sometimes for your clients, depending on their lifestyle. This is such a nice haircut to be able to rock for a long time. So we're going to go ahead and double check all of our work that we've created here, making sure everything's nice and balanced. And again, like how we asked earlier, could we do this wet? Absolutely. And if, let's say she had thicker hair, we could go in with deeper point cuts, keeping everything still nice and organic, keeping everything nice and flowy. But yeah, so that's what we're creating, that nice shape, keeping it nice and balanced. Perfect. Alrighty. And of course, the butterfly haircut is going to come with lots of layers. I think that's what's cool about the butterfly haircut is we're creating lots of volume. We're keeping that cool 90s aesthetic that's kind of making its comeback. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to drop that fringe area because we've already cut that. We're going to keep this kind of almost a soft disconnect, not cut a disconnect that we can all see, but a soft disconnect. I'm going to go ahead and take pie sectioning, but keeping it very organic. So we're going to go ahead and take a nice pie section. We're going to hold it up 45 degrees, angle just a soft bit here, and then we're going to go ahead, nice point cut section too, nice point cuts. Keeping them super soft. I want these layers to just kind of lay on their own, super effortless. Does she want to style? She does want to style. It's going to be super nice for everyone. We're going to go ahead and pick up just the softness of that guideline that we had created for that first layer. We're going to bring that out. We're going to over direct a little bit, keep that same style. We're going to just softly point cut. Drop that. And since we're using those nice little pie section here, we're going to go ahead and start the back. And of course, different density, we could change it up. We could over direct. We could bring it up higher just to keep some more of the length. But we're going to just go with that kind of length that we created in the front here. Down the middle here. Again, over. Keeping that finger positioning the same. I'm just going to point cut. Turn her around so that you guys can see all the angles here. Then we're going to bring that up. Finger angle. Boom. Right in that guide. So what we're really creating is just a shortness into the length. I think that's what really makes that butterfly haircut really pop when styling. Is keeping that almost cascade look to the haircut. So again, we're going to go ahead and lift. Use our finger angle. And we're just softly dusting. And then one of my favorite things to do is almost grab like a little subsection here at the top of the crown. And point that out. We're going to go ahead and make a nice little circle. And this could be with your comb. It's just a nice way to make sure all the weight is removed from the crown here. So that way we can go ahead and style a little softer. We're just gonna take little point cuts into that length. So we're making also sure that like everything is nice and even when doing that. Kind of doing it to the front section here, but over directing back a little bit just to conserve some of that length, just to check our lengths as well. So we're gonna bring that back, take that little notch out, but keeping that point cutting as our main style cutting here. I think this is a super easy style to go ahead and replicate, still keeping that shape, shortness around the face, lots of texture. And if we feel like at any point you could go ahead and look at your mirror here just to make sure that we've got no weights anywhere that we want to get rid of. And I personally feel like sometimes with a shaggy bang, we want to create a little bit more softness in those angles. So we're going to go ahead and grab from the corners here and just go in with my texture shears and gently kind of just brush that down. Only because I don't want any blunt lines for my client for styling. We're going to go ahead in with our texture shears one more time and just debulk that little section there too. Again, that can be done with a razor. Sometimes with a razor technique, you could go in this way, softly running your razor through it, and then that will kind of take that weight out too, create that softness. But for me, I think I want to create even just a gentle bit of more softness here. So I'm going to even point cut with my texture shears. And that's just to kind of conserve the length as well. We don't want to take too much length out. We're just kind of making sure that the shag really comes through. We're going to go ahead and just do the same thing to the other side. I like to work both sides at kind of the same time, bouncing between the two, so that way we never lose kind of the same texture that we did on one side. Make sure we do the texture to the other side. Making sure everything's looking nice and balanced. And that's why sometimes it's just nice to like use that pinching method almost. If you see anywhere that's a little heavy, we could go ahead and go in, lift that hair up, and gently bring that right back out. We're going to go in, just in these little corners here. Make sure there's not too much weight. Go in and gently bring that right out. All right. And then again, styling, since this is a dry haircut, we're going to teach you how to do a little bit of styling for your client for the night out. And then I'm going to show you how to style some of these shag bangs. Alrighty. And since she was prepped with a Bumble and Bumble, that's going to give me that heat protection that I'm looking for. So I get to heat style knowing that your integrity is still at heart. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and clamp that down softly. We don't want to create any ridges either when we're styling. And we're going to just round it out at the end there. I'm going to round it out for that vintage vibe. And just create that softness along the face there. And kind of the same for the front hair here. I'm going to pull away that main length. And depending on how your client wants to wear it, because of course this is such a vintage hairstyle that we could go ahead and go in, bend out, so that way we get that Farrah Fawcett vibe. Or we could just bring that inwards as well to kind of drape around the face there. And then you could always create different kinds of shapes. So that way, if I want to kind of create some cool organic pieces coming away from the face, I'm just going to turn my straightener a little bit to the side there, making sure all these lines are nice and visible. Create that shag, another shag vibe. Same for the other side. Create down for that little main length there of that face framing, and curve out for this part. All right, since we're going for that more 90s butterfly aesthetic, we're going to go ahead in with our Chi Wand. This is the new lava, and it's nice because it's got that cool shot, so your clients will leave with their hair curled for a while. It's very nice. So we're going to go ahead and go in, and then we're going to wrap around the wand to create movement away from the face. We're going to go ahead and turn that, let that cool. And we're going to just keep working our way back until we've got the whole head nice and curled. This is super easy, super effortless. We're just doing a soft style just to kind of bring this haircut really to life. We're just going to work our way around the head. I think this is some of the fun stuff that I've gotten to create in these last few months. I just got done with a assistant program, and getting her to getting to teach her some of the new trendy haircuts was super fun because they are almost like just very easy to replicate because this just works for so many different hair types. And just being and at the end of the day, working at Ulta, working in any salon that you guys are currently at, it's like our sales come or our clients come to us looking for these new styles, asking these new questions, and I think being able to stay on trend is definitely one of the biggest, important things for us as stylists. So, and I think getting to demonstrate this today for you guys was so fun because I personally loved this haircut when it first came out. I thought it was really cool. I think the versatility for so many different clients. I've told so many of my clients that this haircut in particular is so nice for so many different people because, when we're thinking about the lifestyle differences of a lot of my different clients. I think that's what's so great about this haircut is that so many people get to rock something that's trendy but easy and effortless, depending on how they want to rock it. So we're just making sure we're just curling away from the face. So on this side, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about that for just a sec. On this side, because we are kind of reinventing that new modern take on a very vintage haircut, I think it's cool to kind of keep the basics of it the same. I love that, the Farrah Fawcett vibe and everything blown away from the face has been so cool. So I'm kind of bringing that back to life in a more modern approach, keeping those ends a little bit out of the wand to keep the straight vibes at the end, but keeping everything still curving from the face, keeping it away from the face. So that way we still end up with that more vintage look to it too. So again, curling away from the face, but keeping those ends out. So that way we keep that modern touch to it, keep that modern look for your client. And that's what I love about this haircut because it's definitely a day to night kind of haircut. So this is very easy for any of your clients to do at home. Being able to just style it real quick, being able to tie it up. So having that shag bang come out, having a little bit of style to your clients is definitely what's really cool and key to this haircut. Again, styling away from the face here. Hitting it with a cool shot just to keep that curl lasting up. And the nice thing too about the Bumble and Bumble takeover was so great that we have so many different products for this as well. I'm going to finish her with a texture dry spray, which is so nice. It holds no crunch, but just gives you that airy, effortless vibe as well. So again, kind of taking all these little subsections, doing away from the face. And that's why this is very nice just to be able to finish this for your client and giving them a really elegant, effortless look at the end. We're just going to go ahead and still keep curling away from the face. We could go ahead and pick up that little front fringe area here so that it blends with the rest of it. I'll go ahead and do it to the other side. And again, so many different ways to style this. This morning we had started out with a blowout with some curls in it. But then, you could wear it straight, you could wear it curly, you could wear it curled. It's so many different styles in one, which is so cool. Let me go ahead and curl that fringe area. Top piece here, be able to curl that. Yeah, and I feel like too, this haircut is so easy. It's so quick to be able to replicate. It's a haircut that you could fit in between a color appointment. I think that's what's so nice about it too, is that it could be, just the fringe that you want to offer your client. And then, to encompass the rest of the length is really cool that it doesn't, take you too long as a stylist, especially during this busy season of holiday. But giving your guests, the coolest new cut. Alrighty, so now that we're all nice and curled, I'm going to go in with my Bumble and Bumble dry spun texture spray. I like this because in comparison to using a hard hold hairspray, because we're just wanting to create volume, we're wanting to create texture. We don't want anything to weigh down this hair, and that's why we, want to go in with a nice dry spray, so that way we go ahead and create more airy than, heavy. So we're gonna go ahead and lift. We're gonna go underneath here. We're gonna lift, go underneath. We're gonna create that all over. And then I'm gonna do a nice fluffing at the end here. I'm gonna shake out all those layers. Just run our fingers through it. Give it that nice tousled look. Giving that more edgy, cool approach. That front fringe area, but the nice thing about the butterfly cut is keeping everything, it's keeping everything nice and balanced. So we're just going to pinch together that fringe area just to kind of create that curve there. And kind of straight ahead so that way we can go ahead and see everything laying nice. You can already tell that there's so much more volume kind of at the crown area that we wanted to create, a lot more texture. That fringe area is definitely something here going. It's just something nice and soft. We're going to go ahead and go right over just those corners one more time. And just kind of round those out just a little bit more. Just so that it sits with all the rest of the hair. Go ahead and go on this side one more time. And just kind of curve that into the hair too. We're just kind of making sure that every little detail is kind of done here for the haircut. Alrighty, keeping that cut nice and short. I guess we have any questions about the cut? I think this is super cool, easy haircut to be able to do this holiday season, giving people a nice trendy look. We're going to be pinching just to kind of create that nice soft shag bang. And this, again, so cool that your guest gets to go ahead and do so many different styles. She could go ahead and tie it up, wear it in a bun, and it's going to give her so many different kind of styles for the holiday season. So that's why I like to imagine my client and kind of their different kind of styles they're going for. And I think that's what's best about this haircut is it does give so much versatility for your guest. And because there's no harsh lines, I think that's what makes this style so easy. Is that really it's just, it takes either a few curls or just wearing it nice and straight. I think that's why this cut is so cool. And let's say if you did have a guest with different textured hair, let's say she was curly, keeping the density at heart, and even for somebody with textured hair, I think that's something that's also nice is that taking the weight out of those ends, creating that volume where we want it at the crown. So yeah, I think this is really fun. I, want to take this opportunity to say thank you one more time for everybody tuning in. I love that Ulta is giving me the time to be able to have an apprentice to get to do these haircuts and teach all the time. So again, if anybody's ever looking for an apprenticeship, that's something that we offer here at Ulta. You could go ahead and DM me on my Instagram. I'm looking for a new assistant. I think this is super fun. If anybody ever has any questions, please let me know.